Hey, everybody. It is Chris and Chris here with the CFF 2026 award show, which, as you can tell, is a deeply glitzy affair that, much like the rest of the festival, we have a giant budget for. So this is something of a tradition where I bring Dad out here with me, and he sort of acts as the when you go to the bowling alley and the kids have the bumpers put up for their. He is like that to make sure that I speed run this stuff and don't keep you guys here for an hour. So he's the brevity police, among other things, and also an endless cheerleader for you, both our filmmakers and our audience. So a pleasure to be with you here tonight. And as tradition dictates, we do have a bunch of thank yous that we like to start things out with.
Absolutely.
That are a part of every year. First, of course, I've got to thank our sponsors and everyone who believed in us this year. That includes the Tennessee Entertainment Commission, who have been with us since year one, and still we haven't scared them off, and that means a lot. Partners like Arrow Video and Chattanooga Whiskey, you guys have been with us ride or die for so long. It means the world. Same for Infinity Flux Comics. There's a lot of people that have our back in this community here in Chattanooga, and that means an awful lot to us, and truly could not do it without their support. Speaking of support, both emotional and otherwise, to get into some of the weeds of what we handled this year. Among other things, we started year 13 with a very unlucky, very late delivery of our projectors. One of the key things, as you know, a film festival needs to show the films.
And kind of hard to get along without that, yeah.
But yeah, what happened in the face of a pretty major delay, both for films, events, and for you guys on the ground, you met us with such kindness and compassion, and you showed us how much you have our back and how much this festival exists and has continued to exist because of all of you. So I did want to mention that you guys were endlessly patient and endlessly positive and wonderful, and it's been a joy to peek into the Discord server all week long and just see all the love you've given to our filmmakers and all the things that have made you laugh and cry and all of that. So just please know how much we appreciate you being here. You don't have to be. There's other places you could be. So that's not lost on us. Had to say so. I also I know and acknowledge that this year has been kind of a mess for the entire world and for everyone. And this year, I myself have felt like quite a bit of a mess. The world's a strange place. And the point that I'm making is that, this festival was something I created so I wouldn't feel so all alone. And it's often functioned as both, something that it felt like a flame that I had to keep lit no matter what, but also something that every year, no matter how deep I sink into whatever depression or whatever it is, this reminds me of why I'm here and why I love movies and why I love the people who make movies and, the people who celebrate them alongside me. So I also did want to say that, I really appreciate all of you for really, I don't know, morale is up in a way that I can't, is above my pay grade to articulate. But with that aside, I will also say that though every single member of my team has had my back this year, Dad, I've got to give you some love. You've all helped me through some very dark stuff this year, including the second CFF in a row where I put down a beloved, pet, one of the friends that I had hanging out with me while I helped program this year in the month before the festival. So there's been a lot of darkness this year, and I'm very grateful for the way that you approach this festival and the way that you've always approached me. And I just want to say that
thanks, bro.
When depression has often been the lens through which I look through the world, seeing your capacity for compassion and your excitement to share the work of young and upcoming filmmakers it's really great. And it's helped me, it's acted as a bit of a North Star when I had my doubts about myself. So thank you for that. Moving on, Dustin and Ashley, I don't even know where to begin. And there's like more, it's single space, like serial killer style. So I'm going to try my best to read some of what I want to say about the both of you. And I don't know where to start. And maybe it's better that I, keep things a little brief so the stream doesn't just descend into me ugly crying for 30 minutes. But there is no quantifying the ways that you both make this festival better. Yeah. And yours are voices I've come to trust more than the negative voice that is often in my head. When the fundraising and other thankless parts that come along with running a nonprofit sometimes feel like they're going to overtake me, which they often have. And you both have been just an unbelievable font of positivity and just such an incredible presence in my life. So I've also got to give you love for the incredible virtual programming, Dustin, the care to which you both treat with every filmmaker that walks through our doors, and the literal, what feels like life support that you give me and everyone in this festival. You guys embody the kind of people that I hope this festival matters to, and that it matters to you is a hell of a reminder that whatever track we're on, it might be the right one.
Pretty much, we don't get it done without those two. It's that simple.
Yeah, and another person that's very true of, and one of the kindest people I know, and a person who's made a point to be a friendly presence in my life, whether the festival's going on or not. And that's Sam Elder, our volunteer coordinator. And you have not, dude. Is one of the best hearts I've ever met of anybody, Sam. And you've used every part of that heart to make this festival, from the volunteers that you've assembled to the way that you delight in making sure everyone's fed and taken care of. Also branching into the world of Q&As with me this year and rocking the fucking Vampires premiere, and never for a second taking off or turning off your light up cowboy hat during the process. And I applaud you for that, my friend.
You were talking about the hat. I'll tell you what, he has more guts than I do. I'll leave it at that.
I truly is the sheriff of this town, and it couldn't be in better hands. So, Sam, please know how much we love you. And on the subject of people we love, I have to give some love to Toby. Toby Darling is, as we all discussed ad infinitum at the festival, something of a human Swiss Army knife. I found out, by the way,
that's a good way to put it.
There is one thing he can't do, and it's also a thing that I can't do, which is swim. So,
I tried to teach you. It's not my fault. I tried to teach you.
Unlike you did a terrible job, and I could die, and it's all your fault. But Toby, I honestly, so many of you saw him in action in so many different ways this weekend, including taking all the incredible pictures and really documenting all the chaos and fun on the ground, and making us all
mellow as crap about it, man. The dude is mellow.
Mellow is crap. You heard it here first. But additionally, being a guy that's so plugged into our local, restaurant community, our creative community, and giving everything from great restaurant recommendations to himself having a short film play the festival, and having one of the single greatest ads I've seen for a local business also run in the pre-show reel. If you saw the pedestrian wine and cheese trailer, you betcha you laughed your ass off at it. And Toby, we love you so much, and you've made us all so much cooler than we deserve. And I can say the same thing for you, Mr. Travis Knight, who have been with me since our pop-up days when I couldn't figure out if the band should open for the movie or the movie should open for the band. You've been creating monsters and art and just constantly using your imagination to embody what it is we're trying to do here at CFF. And I love you so much. And I could say the same thing about the music you bring into our city. Chattanooga is a place that, like a lot of places in the arts, our music scene hasn't always had, the best rudder, and it's really in great hands now. And you guys are no small part of that. So got to give some love to Travis Knight there as well. Jake and Grover, our box office bros, you may have seen in the poster there that we recreate every year. Dustin chose 200 cigarettes this year. And even though the tagline made a joke about the projectors and it feels a bit too soon for this sailor, I still thought it was really fucking funny and wonderful. And it's a tradition.
Man, it was great. Come on.
A tradition that I've loved and gotten a kick out of. But Jake, you're not only one of our box office managers now, but you've joined our programming team, and you've just been such an endlessly positive source of, love for these films. Obviously,
who told you about him? Who told you about him?
I don't know who it was. It's definitely not Dad, who really needs that credit right now. So make sure you give it to him in the chat.
No, I'm just kidding. He was in 3 of my classes. He gamed the system and was one of my all-timers. So
He's been with us as a volunteer for many years, and honestly, it's wonderful to have him join the fold. And also help rock so many insightful Q&As this year, and helped make the weekend a lot more fun for everybody. I think in general. Let's see. I've also got to give some love to Grover, our other box office manager, and something of a Swiss Army knife himself. And also, I should note, literally the guy that remembered when we didn't have the audio gear on the truck that did eventually show up with the projector, that there was a cable closet in the theater center that we could raid and hopefully figure out something to make night one work.
Dude was the hero, man.
Without him, the yarn and bubblegum that stitched that night together, and Dustin and every other volunteer that helped us NASCAR pit crew that, you guys are incredible. I really, you saved the day in more ways than one. And special shout out for remembering the lay of the land there at the theater center, Grover. You've been with us forever, and I truly don't remember a time before you were with us, and I choose not to remember that time. Sarah, our community manager, who has been all over in many places at once, locking things down here on the Discord server. Warmth and friendliness of spirit, and making sure that nobody feels gate kept or like they don't belong here is a huge part of what we strive for at CFF. And that's allowed us to find people like Sarah, who found us organically and fell in love with this festival the same way we fell in love with her, and is, a person who knows a thing or two about making an online community feel like a real community, because it is a real community. It has to be fed and nurtured the same way. And you've been awesome. You've made so many watch parties happen this weekend. You've, answered a million questions and always done so with kindness. And truly, your love of food and horror is something that it's been a joy to watch you become a literal scholar and historian on. And I've got to give you a lot of credit. You've been a huge cheerleader for this festival. And like everybody here, somehow you started as a fan, and that's wild to me. So I also have to say, before we close out this part of things, to our filmmakers in general this year, I really hope you see all the ways that your work has moved our audience to laughter and to tears and to so many great feelings this week. I hope you've had a chance to peek your head into the Discord server or look at the letterboxd reviews that have been left in the name of your work and just see what amazing things that you've brought to the world, and what a gift you've given us, allowing us to share it this year, especially those of you that took a chance on the virtual side of things and allowed us to world premiere films on that side of things. Audience accessibility has meant everything to us for the last few years. And for people like yourselves that are willing to take that journey with us, it makes this entire festival stronger. And you reach an audience that truly appreciates you giving them that opportunity. And I just needed you to know that as well. And other than that, I do have to mention a few other people who have been in the trenches with us for many years. And we'd like to take a moment to recognize, and also kind of, if you guys are into it, we'd kind of like to go steady and see if you might actually want to formally join our staff. I'm just a silly boy, just asking you all.
Off, dude. Come on.
I mean, if it's too late for that, if they're not scared already. But Kevin, Will, and Mary, you guys were absolutely awesome. You're all calming and cool presences. We love seeing you, and once a year isn't enough. We'd love to have you with us. So hopefully you see this and saddle up with us for next year. You guys are all amazing, and again, the great people this festival has put in my path, not lost on me. And equally so, I have to thank the entire Dillard family, who all volunteer, an entire family who like the Adams family who you saw in Blood and Guts, the incredible documentary this weekend. They signed up to have this festival's back, and every one of them are a part of it, whether they're an usher or providing emotional support on the ground, or even Isabel, joining us to moderate your first Q&A as an alumni filmmaker this year. You guys make us better. You're exactly the kind of people that we hope that this festival reaches, and it's lovely that you've become all of our friends
too, whether individually or collectively. I've found that out in the last year.
Yeah, and that's also not to take away from the efforts of every other volunteer that signed up. So many of you for, the third or fourth or even fifth years in a row. You guys are amazing. And along those lines, I did get a statement from Sam here, who has just a message he wanted me to read to you because he can't be here with us tonight. And I'm going to take a really awkward drink of Diet Coke before this happens. Here we go.
I'll get a Waterloo with you.
If I can start it at the beginning, is when it comes to CFF, we operate for the majority of a year with about as much of a skeleton crew as you could possibly have. Each one of us cares so deeply about making this the best possible experience for everyone. But at the end of the day, our staff cannot fulfill every role required to take on the on the ground experience and the virtual experience and make it as great as it can be. And this is where you, our volunteers, come into the picture. Every year, we recruit a ragtag group of film loving folks that share our vision for what this festival can be. And each year, this group dedicates their time and energy to making that festival what it is. And without you, our volunteers, we don't have a festival. It's as simple as that. These movies that everyone has a blast watching wouldn't get shown. We need our volunteers to make this madness possible. From the entire CFF team, thank you so much for your time and dedication that you put into this year's festival. It's not always glamorous. That's not true, Sam. It's always glamorous. Nor is it always exciting. But what you do for us is always appreciated. Sincerely, thank you all. The fact that our volunteers are willing to dedicate even a few hours of their weekend to this festival means the world to us. Whether you're a longtime veteran or this is your first year, we're all so damn grateful for each of you. If you happen to see anyone in the Discord with the orange volunteer indicator in their username, please make sure you give them some love, give them a thanks, and thank you all so much for joining us on this island of misfit toys. We all sincerely hope you keep coming back. And now that I've essentially read a few pages of my diary here, I think it's time for me and Dad to give out some fucking awards, which is why you're all here.
Man, that's why the folks are here, dude.
We respect your time is the point that I'm making, and brevity is the soul of wit. So I have read. I don't know that there will be any wit going forward, but we'll do our best there too. But anyway, here's to 13 years. Let's fucking go. All right. So before we really get to the what we think is in some ways one of the most important awards of the weekend, and those are the audience awards that you all so generously took the time to vote on throughout the weekend, whether you were on the ground and filling out our analog ballots or doing so virtually on Eventive. It really means a lot that you took the time to help us recognize these filmmakers and weigh in on the stuff that meant the most to you. So we will give those audience awards at the very last of this. But to start things off, I do have a tally of votes for something that we have done a few times before in the past, but never quite to the degree that we've done here. And that's that we'd like to essentially just take a moment to acknowledge what we think is one of the best and most unique cinematic universes that has started to appear, in the indie genre film scene. And that's why we would love to give the Best Cinematic Universe award to Frogman Return. But hang on, there are additional votes here at the bottom of this has never happened before, but it does appear that there is a tie between Frogman Returns and Grind for Best Cinematic Universe. So unfortunately,
works.
We won't be able to help just solve that feud over which one takes place in which universe. So you guys are going to have to help the world decide. But congratulations to you both for the world building and the fun that you built into your incredible movies. The audiences that you had under your spell all weekend came up to me and literally were just like a Pez dispenser of dopamine, telling me great things about watching your films, and it meant a lot to us. And may you both come to a compromise in your eventual decision over which cinematic universe takes supremacy. I'm not sure.
Shall we mention the directors, sir?
Oh, sure. Go ahead.
I can do that. Directors Anthony Cousins, Ed Doherty, Bria Grant, Chelsea Stardust.
It's so wonderful to have Chelsea, you join us as well. This team are fantastic. Anybody that wants to make promotional mouse pads for their office horror anthology film, to me, has the spirit of gimmickry in their heart, and it's honestly a blast that we got to share this year with you guys. Next up, another special jury prize and a tip of the hat to Dustin on our team here for christening this one the Short and Sour Prize. It was originally going to be Short and Skeet, but unfortunately, we didn't know how many outlets would, run that in their press release, at least here locally in Chattanooga. This goes to a film that's kind of emerged as a sleeper hit this week, and it's been a joy to watch you all discover it, and also a joy to champion. We're seeing a lot of films with these lean and mean running times on the rise, reshape what it means to have a feature under your belt, and this one's fantastic. And I'm talking about Assets and Liabilities.
Yeah, by director Mr. Zach Weintraub. So congrats there, and congrats to Dustin for thinking up this award, because it was much needed, I feel.
I agree with that. And another thing that's kind of been an informal thing that we've done for the last few years, because it seems every year we have at least one film where the creativity of our filmmakers and their dialogue writing or the moments in their films lend themselves to something of a yearly catchphrase or mantra, if you will. And this one, a clear winner once again emerged, as it has for many years since the dawn of Deadass. And if you're with me and you remember Deadass, then you understand when this goofiness all began. So again, our official CFF mantra for 2026 jury prize goes to Enduring Destiny and don't step on my brakes. Maybe you grabbed a button that said that from the lobby and you're the envy of your friends and loved ones now. But if you didn't, you fucked up, because Enduring Destiny had the line of the festival for a lot of us. And don't step on my brakes is something we're going to repeat now, just as an affirmation to ourselves, both at the beginning and end of all future CFF staff meetings. And we'd like to thank you.
I like that. It's directed by Thomas Riley King. It's an older film. You might have to look it up, or you might have to join the Patreon that Dustin and Christopher have curated for the last, 4 years now?
Dustin, you just edit out the capitalism as well. Any ask for money. And hey, by the way, that's actually something I should point out.
I just did.
Well, no. You're right. You did it. This is not that though. This is way more on the up and up. And that's that you guys have gotten us. And again, we didn't make our goal, but we are within about $500 of our goal. So we really appreciate everyone who donated or bought a shirt or a poster or one of our many Travis Knight created stickers and creations. That means a hell of a lot to those of you who joined our Double Secret Cinema Society, because you have enjoyed spending our red eye evenings with us. We are going to be excited to have you guys join us every month as well. We're almost to 100 members there. Y'all got us to 99 and $500 away from the goal.
Somebody be that magic 100th.
That's pretty damn cool. And I just had to take a second to acknowledge all of y'all as well. Another thing we love to do every year, and if you're familiar with the festival, this is something that hopefully you've noticed, because we do try to keep quiet about some of our secret themes, and other ones not so secret. And that's that we love to showcase films that kind of showcase the relationship between music and cinema in really cool and fascinating ways. And this year we got the opportunity to share a film that very few audiences in the US have had an opportunity to see yet. Something that if you saw on the ground, Dustin gave you a hell of an intro for, a movie that we love a lot, an animated musical, The Obsessed.
Yeah, director Watari Takahashi outdid himself on this picture.
Really, really cool piece of work. And honestly, we think a lot more audiences are going to kind of gently turn it into a cult hit as it finds its way into release, hopefully later this year. Student Filmmaker Prize, Dad. I've got to hand the CFF awards baton to you for a second here.
I'll gladly take it.
Also, we should say that no matter how many years this festival runs, it's something that's been key to it every single year is that there is always a block that lets us give some love to student filmmakers and filmmakers right here in our backyard. And there's been some people who call us a regional film festival online. I don't like that R word, because
humbug.
To me, at this point, the accessibility has put us in the homes of so many of you all across the nation now, and that we get to share the work with some filmmakers from right in our backyard in that wider way is something that means the world to us too. And Dad, who comes to us both as a career journalist and an educator, and someone who for all of my life has done a great job when he's had students, of always taking a few under his wing and mentoring them. And that warmth that he brought to his classes was something that, when I wanted to start building this block and make sure it was approached with the earnestness that it needed, that Dad was the first and only person I thought of. And he's continued to do that every year. And with very little prior film programmer experience, has jumped
make
in.
That zero?
Yeah, you're supposed to lie about that part and make us sound but it's completely okay.
What it takes is a love for story. And increasingly, our students have become crafty in not only inventing these stories, but in the way they present them. We had a film on 16 millimeter this year. We had a guy adopt a short story, 1912 short story by Franz Kafka. These are not just like, oh, let's just make a movie. These are taking big swings and hitting it out of the park. So the other thing I might add is that when somebody says regional, I say, well, we are getting submissions from all over the world from student filmmakers, all over the world. And it's not just your large film schools, although certainly Florida State, you've been really kind. Shout out to your program. But NYU, USC, UCLA, and tons more. But sometimes we'll get some from smaller schools that you wouldn't think of, and they put out just as good a work. So it's been a pleasure to do this gig, man.
The future of film is something that we obviously where it's at with the Ellisons eventually inheriting the earth right now is something that really, now more than ever, makes us want to look ahead and see what that future looks like. Maybe a future without studios, or with different people at the helm of some very different studios. And it's a great feeling to know what hands all of that future is going into.
Yeah, I met a one-man studio on our closing night, as did a lot of people who were there for our traditional shutdown. We'll talk about him later. But this award, as I was going through the films, and we had more than 100 students submissions, and some catch your eye, but this one really caught my eye, because the only time I've ever seen somebody adapt a short story by the legendary writer, journalist, and poet Ambrose Bierce was in The Twilight Zone. It was the only episode in that great series run that was not written by Rod Serling or one of his crew.
It was a short film that Rod...
Quick Bridge. Yeah, we can still finish each other's sentences, can't we, dude? It was a French short film, and they ran it as is. No modifications at all. So this young filmmaker took a short story by Ambrose Bierce. He came up with a film called The Damned Thing. And our Student Filmmaker Award goes to director Christopher Lewis. Kudos for pulling this off in many ways. I said in my initial review of the film, it's a period piece with echoes of Predator, To Kill a Mockingbird, and maybe even The Fog mixed in. So if you can do all that and adapt something from Ambrose Bierce, you got me in your corner.
Really, really great piece of work. Congrats to you for that. And also, you set the bar very high for yourself, because we got a lot of Bierce fans among the programming team of this festival. And to do such an unbelievable job with such an iconic adaptation is not an easy feat. So hats off to you for The Damn Thing. Next up, our Tennessee Filmmaker Award, another part of Dad's Salute Your Shorts blocks, which we hope you also took some time to watch the Fun Size Epics editions of on the virtual side of things. We've really loved having virtual also, because it's given us an opportunity to showcase some of these longer form pieces of short cinema that otherwise might be a little difficult for us to fit in on the ground, where we're trying to make sure we showcase the work of as many filmmakers as possible. Those blocks were all great this year, but one film really stood out. And Dad, you want to tell them about it?
Yeah, the Tennessee Filmmaker Award. I give plaudits to anybody who can look around their surroundings and find stories. And this director, who lives near Oak Ridge, chose to use that. And there's a history behind the Oak Ridge Research Center that not a lot of people know about, but it was a huge factor in the Manhattan Project during World War II, when we thought Hitler was going to beat us to an atomic bomb. That was not the case, but the Oak Ridge Nuclear Lab was a big part of that. And so director Matt Webb, who lives in Maryville, Tennessee, came up with this interesting story called The Recluse. And that is our Tennessee Filmmaker Award winner this year.
And again, it's really great when a film transcends just being something that was made in our backyard, and it's something that catches the attention of everyone who watches it, no matter where they're tuning in from across the U.S. And The Recluse is such an incredible piece of work. It really could exist in any category of short films that we have here. So got to give it some love. Got to give some love to Matt Webb. That's a really cool piece of work, Matt.
This is his second film in our block, and the first one was well liked too, but this one was one that when I saw it, I immediately thought, wow, winner, chicken dinner here. And that proved to be true if you look at the audience reaction to it and the numbers of views and the positivity that the film received.
Another jury prize that we've started doing in recent years is in honor of films that we think are going to be future cult classics, films that are cult classics that just haven't found their cults yet, but we think are already well on their way to having that cult discover them. And this year, it's a film that we thought was absolutely incredible in its approach to creating a terrifying new vision of dystopia, anchored by an absolutely powerhouse performance by Kate Wilson, a movie we love a lot, and we're excited to share the U.S. premiere of on the virtual side of the festival, and that is Bunny Rabbit.
Yeah, director James Branson. I'm a sucker for a post-apocalyptic filmmaking, and it's cool when somebody takes a different approach, if you will. I mean, it's all dreary and stuff, but it's dreary as crap. That's my new catchphrase. This was an excellent film, and certainly deserving of the Cult Classic Award, because one day people will look back on this film and say, damn, I wish I'd seen that back in the day.
Dreary as crap, your official catchphrase, is something that also describes the current political climate here in the sometimes great, we wish we were greater state of Tennessee, where instead of acknowledging what this month is, which is fucking Pride Month, some dickhead, whose name shall not be mentioned here because it is poison, decided that it was actually Nuclear Families Month. Well, that's fucking bullshit. It's Pride Month. And along those lines, we're here once again to give the Pride Award, something that is just a joy to hand out to this particular filmmaker, because the first film Avalon Fast was here with is a movie called Honeycomb. And that's a movie that every one of us on the programming side of things saw and just, we felt the same way about Jane, who directed We're All Going to the World's Fair, that's gone on to make the incredible I Saw the TV Glow and Teenage Sex and Death at Camp Miasma. These are people who you see their work and you know that their voice is one that you're not only going to hear from in the future, but that you're going to love hearing from in the future. And that to me was very much the case with our Pride Award winner for this year. And that's Avalon Fast for the incredible film Camp. And in a year when we even kind of took a deep dive into what, the meaning of camp was, very literally with camp slashers, very broadly with my own, expletive-laden dissertation on William Castle's Mr. Sardonicus. It's really been a fun year to approach the notion of what camp means. And that even extends to our hope that we are the summer camp for cinephiles that you all love and need in your hearts. If you've been following this festival for the last few years, or really even since the beginning, you know that one of our early mentors and a dear friend of our festival was the late, great filmmaker, Jeff Burr. Maybe you noticed also this extended to our theater this year, which we christened the Jeff Burr Memorial Amphitheater. And to keep Jeff's name alive is something that's very important to those of us who knew him, because he was such a person who took great joy in sharing what he knew about film and filmmaking with others. And that to me extended to being a film historian. Jeff was one of the first calls I made often when I wanted someone to give some context to why something strange or unusual was as special as I thought it was. And love Jeff a lot. And when Jeff created his very first films, and notably one that was filmed right in our backyard here, From a Whisper to a Scream, there was a certain can-do spirit and a DIY punkness to everything Jeff did in his approach, including parking his fucking car outside of Vincent Price's house and offering a role and pretty much not leaving, which, would be frowned upon today. But in the spirit which Bird did it, what happened?
Today Price, he might be arrested for that.
But in that day, Vincent Price turns up in the movie, and we have From a Whisper to a Scream, a really fantastic film. And movies that get created with that kind of spirit are something that means a lot to us. And we christened this award with some folks who are back with us again with their own little cinematic universe a couple years ago. And that's the fellas who made No Clip, who are back with a pretty incredible tribute to the phenomenon of no clipping and somehow a love letter to being here in Chattanooga. So we do appreciate you guys for documenting your time here, even though we weren't necessarily sure what our cameos were going to be. So love to you guys. But for this year's Jeff Burr Prize, we really started to look at this lineup and think about the things that had these handmade touches and these things that, both a unique approach to elements that were in the film, but a unique approach to the storytelling and the lore of the film. And one of the cool things this year that kind of emerged is we had a number of stories that riffed on vampire mythos and all had very interesting takes on vampire myth. And of those stories, to me, I think one of the best kind of plots or plot hooks that I've seen in the history of our festival, from their literally stop motion animated bat wings to the film, to the unbelievable idea that when you're turned into a vampire, you can really only feed off those who had the same blood type you did before you were turned. The team who made On Gallows Hill took such a fascinating and cool and very handmade approach to vampire film in general. You guys are such a cool group of people. The way that you approached everything, and I'm going to reach down here and try not to fuck the camera up, but this art book that you gave me, that you even created to document the making of your film itself, is such a beautifully handmade.
That is cool.
You're just a really amazing team, and we had to give the Jeff Burr Prize to On Gallows Hill this year. Jeff would love this film and the spirit with which you all approached it.
Yeah, it was awesome. Directed by Ed Szymborski and his team. So well-deserved. Jeff was kind of like the Pied Piper around these parts. Young filmmakers couldn't believe we knew him. And of course, they knew his work, and they would follow him around like little puppies. And he would dispense information and invaluable nuggets right and left. So, Jeff, we miss you.
Another special jury prize we're happy to give out is one that if you were here on the ground at CFF, you probably got to experience a little bit of what physical media and collecting films and having a library of your own means to us. And we had folks from Terror Vision to some folks that are new on the scene here in Chattanooga with Crockbuster Video, who are the kind of Chattanooga's not been a great place for record stores and places that sold physical media for years, and that's starting to come back is something that means a lot to us. And along those lines, we're all collectors ourselves. It's a thrill every year to work with our friends at Arrow Video along those lines, and even have some of our CFF shenanigans trapped in amber forever on some of their incredible releases. Shout out to Leach. That's why we created a special jury prize we call, with a tip of the hat to Olivia Newton-John, our Let's Get Physical prize. And this year, you probably already know what film it's going to. That would be Dead Media, a movie that is itself a celebration of what it means to be a collector of film, and also produced by Mr. Joe Lynch, who really embarrassed the fuck out of me with that whole birthday shit in the lobby, dude. That was really weird. But Dead Media is a fantastic piece of work, and it's a joy to celebrate it a little bit with our Let's Get Physical prize for 2026.
Yeah, director Joseph Scrimshaw handed in that great work, and we were more than pleased to show it.
Next is a prize we've been giving out for a few years now, and something that also is the name of one of our short film blocks that maybe some of you remember is that we have a few blocks playing here each year called our Dangerous Visions blocks. Those blocks were named in honor of a collection of what I think are truly mind-expanding short stories compiled by the legendary curmudgeon, but equally legendary science fiction writer Harlan Ellison. And to us, films with dangerous visions are things that embody the genre blending and bending spirit of the kind of genre cinema that we at CFF seek to try to platform and share with you guys every year. And along those lines, there were one feature and a short this year that really, really stood out to us. And we'll start with the short film. And every year, I should say, there are a bunch of you on the filmmaking side of things that instantly ingratiate yourself to all of us. We love you immediately. And we are all really legitimately fucking sad when you leave, and we think, God, will they ever come back? Will they hang out with us again? And Sam, the filmmaker of Nebuchadnezzar, in addition to just being a man about town and constantly a joyful presence around the festival this year, also, it should be noted, who sang the single greatest version of the song Titanium ever performed at our
brought down the house.
Karaoke clam bake. Unbelievable film, unbelievable filmmaker. And again, a good example of why we're so happy to have our Fun Size Epics program, which allows us to focus on shorts that need a little more runway because of the incredible visions that they're trying to achieve in a short piece. And Nebuchadnezzar, Sam, now I know how to spell it because of you, by the way.
Yeah, I'm not sure I remember how to spell it, but it's cool that I got to meet him and hang out with him quite a bit. And one day outside the boneyard, he asked me, do you mind if I ask you why you guys picked the film? And I said, yeah, man, it was a great story. It's nothing more complicated than that. And that meant the world to him. So I'm glad to see that he's gotten some love here with this award.
Well deserved, Sam. You and your film. We can't wait to see what comes next. And we're pre-signed up for it, which I believe I told you at least 7 times on the ground. For the feature side of things, our Dangerous Visions prize was one that pretty much we didn't even have to deliberate on this choice. We knew this film was one that embodied the spirit of this. And also, I have to give so much love to this team for letting us world premiere their film and let Ashley do an incredible Q&A with so many of the incredible ensemble cast and crew of this film. And I'm talking about another filmmaker here that just we all fell in love with you and your team on the ground. And I should also give some love to star and executive producer DJ Qualls here, who was out and hanging out at the very last.
Great.
Went down with the ship with us with Big City Pizza, took our honorary shots of whiskey as we do each year. And this team, this crew, this filmmaker, Andrew Zappin, the king of black goo, embodies what we mean when we say Dangerous Visions. This film rules, and we loved meeting you and getting to share it.
Andrew's a great dude. We had a great conversation on the last night at over eating pizza, and he's just got so much of our same sensibilities that it was just amazing that he found us, we found him, and we just really hit it off right from get-go. So this was a great addition to the festival.
Much love to you and your team, Andrew. I should also say you mentioned pizza, and I'm just trying to segue my balls off to everything.
Oh, this was a good one, man. You're on fire, dude.
Yeah. So I think at this point, people might think, since we showcased Make Me a Pizza a few years back, that pizza programming is something that we're quietly becoming known for.
Make a film about a pizza, and we'll show it.
Maybe we will. And we do have our annual parting pizza pity party, which does help us drown our sorrows and carbohydrates on the ground every year. But it should be noted that we, while being aficionados and lovers of a great pizza, don't necessarily seek out films that are about pizza. But this year, another pizza movie stole our hearts and melted our brains like that extra cheese. And again, I'm just rolling with the pizza metaphor as much as I can here.
Might as well wear it out as long as you can.
Absolutely, man. As you saw from our multi-part shirt Heart saga for the Red Eye intros this year, dragging a bit 10 yards past where it should fucking go is part of the CFF way. But yeah, this is a movie that kind of embodies to me what indie filmmaking can be when someone needs a creative outlet. And this is a filmmaker that as a day job was working on a show that we won't tell you the name of, even though he mentioned it out loud during his Q&A here, because I don't know if that was like an on the down low thing and we don't want to blow up his spot. But this is a guy who very much one man band in the way that he approached this film. It took him years to create in Blender. The way he approached the building of this world, the batshit insanity of this world, and staging it as if it was a single take is just truly insane. And I've got to give some love and a special jury prize we call our Bad Night Good Movie Prize to a film called Big City Pizza. Yeah,
it was great. And Dusty Saunders, who's from California, and he actually was a skateboarder out there, and he sort of embodies that whole skateboarder attitude. He's just chill and cool, but he sat in front of his computer during COVID and just built this world, animated this world. And I'm not going to lie to you, I sat in the theater with everybody for our closing night, and I laughed at this film as much as anything I've laughed at in years. I mean, laugh out loud, because the dialogue is so funny. The voice actors were so spot on, and the world he created was just unbelievable. So anybody out there with a computer and an idea for a story, just think about Big City Pizza, and that's all the inspiration you'll need, because Dusty crushed it.
Yeah, much love to you, Dusty Saunders. You're an incredible talent and somebody we can't wait to hear more from. And another talent that honestly, I don't think there was any member of our team that didn't just completely fall for this movie head over heels. And I know I've said this at least 10 times over the course of the last week, but I really do think that this is a contender for having one of the all-time great closing credit sequences in which star Britt Lauer just goes absolutely batshit to a Chat Pile song. And it's just such a joyful moment. And this is a filmmaker who first crossed our paths with a really killer short film a few years ago. And we were delighted to have back with a feature. And in fact, giving a prize to a great first feature every year is another thing that we love to do. And this was a unanimous choice for us. And that is the film Cinder. It is such an unbelievable piece of work.
It was awesome, because I'm programmed short films, but every now and again you'll say, Dad, you got to watch this. So, you sent me Cinder, and I looked at, the first thing I look at is the synopsis. So I said, great. That sounds like a great idea. Then I look at to see if the cast that was recruited also thought it was a great story. So I see Britt Lauer. I see the great Ray Seahorn. I see Jamie Lee Curtis. So that piques my interest. And I put the film on, and I watched it, and I put it back on, and I watched it again and was no less fascinated.
Something that we also try to do every year, something we strive for, because we love great documentary filmmaking, is feature as many documentaries as we can find that we also think fit the, shall we just say, particular lane that we try to embody here at CFF. And along those lines, this year we got very lucky in that we started to see that there were a number of projects that kind of told stories about the process of filmmaking and what an often, Quixote-esque quest it can be to make something creative and to see it all the way through to the finish line. And this year, one film absolutely embodied that for us. And this is, and again, I know I mentioned it to this team multiple times on the ground, but this is a movie that filmmakers kept coming up to me, having seen this movie throughout the weekend, and this movie hit them like a ton of bricks. And it did us too, but it also just happens to be such a funny and joyful piece of work. And made by a group of people who wanted their own VHS edition so bad they fucking figured out how to do it, and also fit right in, and were just a joy to see hanging around the week of the festival. And that is Curtis and the incredible team who made first feature, our best documentary of 2026.
Yeah, Mr. Curtis Motzke. I talked to a lot of people that got like verklempt and choked up on this film. So, when you can do that, you've told a brilliant tale.
Speaking of things, and again, you're just giving, I swear you're not just lobbing me these segues, but I'm using the shit.
That's what I'm here for, man. That's what I'm here for.
And that is speaking of.
So great one.
One of the other themes that emerged, I'll cop to accidentally this year, is tears. In fact, I believe some of you at one point had rechristened one of our blocks, CFF Salutes Your Tears. And both apologies and you're welcome for some of the incredible stuff that I know tugged at your heartstrings this year. And again, I know I mentioned that this is the second year in the row that I had to say goodbye to an animal friend. And there was a film this year that hit us all like a ton of bricks, both emotionally and because it was just such a beautiful, cool, and eerie piece of work. And I'm speaking of the short film Zolo, which is our best short film of 2026.
Yeah, Matthew Serrano. It's one of those that if it doesn't grab you, man, you better check your pulse.
Yeah, it's just if you were to search the title of that film on the Discord server right now, you'd see a bunch of people who are all legitimately moved by this piece of work, and deservedly so. It absolutely just was a good reminder of how important the relationships we have in our lives with animals are. So much love to this film, much love to this filmmaker. Thanks for making us cry a lot. Now, when it comes to best feature, that's something that we agonize over every year because it needs to be something that to us kind of embodies the spirit and the love for all genres that our festival has. And it's something that honestly put into a blender so many elements we loved. And I'm talking about heavy metal and horror and comedy, and did so in equal proportions and managed that tightrope or that juggling act, I think, incredibly. And unanimously, our decision for best feature of 2026 this year is a film called Jump Scare. And Donnie, this filmmaker, made something that just like, it's not even fair to say it had us at hello. Like the synopsis was like, if it delivers on this, it's going to be the best goddamn film ever made. And truly, it's one of our favorite horror films in the last God knows how many years. So it's a blast that we got to share this film, Donnie. I love Jump Scare so much. Deserved winner of Best Picture 2026. Perhaps the most important award, because it was an award chosen by the apple of our eye, the people that we very literally couldn't do this without, our audience. And that's our audience awards for both feature and short film this year. And again, this has been a very close race, and one that I won the Alphas poll for in one category, but did not in the others. There's always some upsets here, and we do try to predict, but honestly, you guys always surprise us a little bit. And one of the things that was a joy this year was that we had a documentary emerge as one of the clear-cut winners of an audience award here. And that led us to create our first ever audience award category for a documentary. We had so many great ones this year that it made too much sense. And too many votes came in for a movie that, like a movie we talked about earlier, is itself a tale of filmmaking and what it takes to get film done. And really the story of who are, to me, quickly a family that are becoming one of the first families of genre filmmaking. And I'm talking about the Addams Family, and I'm speaking of the documentary Blood and Guts, which has been such a great feeling to watch this movie wash over those of you that love film and filmmaking this week. It's been a really amazing thing to watch the Addams Family just put their stamp on the horror genre in so many incredible ways. And they pop up in the craziest places. In fact, you'll see Toby and some short films that are playing this year. This is an unbelievable group of people, and to document them properly required such a warmth and empathy for them. And God, did this movie ever achieve that? This is, I think, one of my favorite documentaries I've ever seen about filmmaking. Blood and Guts is a cool piece of work.
Hats off to directors Carly Rubin and Katie Green for that one.
Now, for best short film, there is a project that, again, there were, a few things in the running up until the last day, but then there was something that just, climbed the tower and stuck there. And you guys voted overwhelmingly for the short film Scissors, which is such a cool piece of work. And boy, do you guys have good taste.
Congratulations to director Hannah Aline for that film.
There's one final award that we have to give out this year, and y'all know what that is. That is the Audience Award for Best Feature. And it was really, really a heartwarming thing when I saw that this was the title that y'all landed on. And over the course of the festival, I really did try to incept as many of you as I could to wander into the theater and give a chance to this film. And when I got there to do my intro, I was absolutely delighted at how many of you took a chance and rolled the dice on what I think is truly one of the most beautiful, unique, and eerie pieces of work this year. And that is a film called Orfeo.
Yeah, I was one of those that you lured into the theater. I didn't get to see it during our months-long process of picking the lineup, but director Virgilio Villarisi sent this all the way from Italy. And again, it was one of those where there's nary a dry eye in the house near the end. We were all hoping for a certain result, but it didn't happen. And sometimes I'm okay with an ending as long as there's a reasonable explanation for it, and there was. So wasn't the one that I hoped for, but it was the one that the filmmaker knew needed to happen.
And honestly, we talked about what it is to mount a great adaptation of a piece of well-known work. And obviously in the context of Ambrose Bierce, who we mentioned earlier for one of our short film awards, this film took a stab at retelling the Orpheus myth, which, if you are familiar with John Cocteau's own telling of this myth, that's a very high bar that was set. And this is, to me, one of the most gorgeous and unique pieces of work that you'll see this year. So I do hope that if you didn't get a chance to see it this week, you will seek out Orfeo. But it's an awesome piece of work. And the folks at Oscilloscope were kind enough to give us a chance to share it with you guys. And it means the world that that is what you selected. So without further ado, I believe that somehow late projectors, and I haven't even told you guys about the scam karaoke company we hired, or any of the other crazy behind the scenes dramas, that even though my hair is a little grayer than it was at the start, I wouldn't trade this job for all of the money in the world, although a budget would be nice one year. But you have been an incredible audience. You've been an incredible group of filmmakers. My team here, I love working with you, and it's the highlight of my life that I get to do so. And now, if you will excuse me, it is time for me to do my laundry. One of my shirts got very dirty this week, but we do, because surprising you with shit every night is part of the CFF way. Have one more surprise for those of you that are part of our Double Secret Cinema Society. For those of you that have had too much fun with the Red Eye Block this year and don't want that nightly weirdness to go away just yet, anybody that is a member of the Double Secret Cinema Society with us, even on the lowest of the low tiers on Patreon, we have a bonus Red Eye for you, and it's something pretty special that I think you're all going to get a big kick out of. This is something that we try to do every year, just to say thanks to everybody who's been on the ride of the Double Secret Cinema Society with us, but also to say a warm welcome to our new members, many of whom we have really delighted in seeing your comments through the Red Eyes that we hit you with this week. Couldn't have been a more varied or chaotically curated group of films this year, and you guys rose to the bar at every turn, accepted the gauntlet, and made us real fucking proud. And we can't wait to come back with even weirder Red Eye 5 next year. And so from me and Dad and every single member of our crew here, our teeny tiny team at CFF, thank you for being a part of this festival. We love you so much. Truly.
See you next year.